You're watching CBS7 News at 9 on the CW and live on the CBS7 YouTube channel with Alexandra, Macia, and Tom Teeper-Teller.
It's my job, lost my place. And so, you know, if it wasn't for breaking bread, I actually probably be pretty hungry most of the time throughout the week.
Every weekday, Breaking Bread offers food and comfort to Midlanders who are homeless or hungry. But tonight's meal was a little more special. More about the food, love, hope, and sense of family that was experienced tonight coming up in just a few minutes. Good evening and thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW. And thanks for joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Alexandra, Macia. It's been 4 years since a gunman killed 7 people and wounded dozens of other West Texans in a mobile mass shooting. The 7 victims are remembered and celebrated each year. Edwin Peregrino, Raul Garcia, Joe Griffith, Mary Granados, Cameron Brown, Rodolfo Arco, and Lila Hernandez. Over 20 other people were injured that day, but today we remember and celebrate them all. As we reflect back on the 4th anniversary of the mobile mass shooting in 2019, Odessa Police Chief Mike Gerke spoke about what happened and what has changed since then, but also how the communities of Midland and Odessa came together to stop a rampage.
August 31st, 2019, when a lone shooter did something no one in West Texas believed would ever happen, but did. 28 days after a mass shooting in El Paso, Midland and Odessa were added to the list. Odessa Police Chief Mike Gerke remembers that day, where he was, and the challenges they faced.
Obviously, on August 31st, and with that individual, we had really no pre-notice. He never jumped up on the screen. But there are people that do now jump up on that screen, and we do a background and we check them out and we'll have a conversation with them just to gauge.
The response has changed thanks to new technology, more boots on the ground, and better communication between agencies that respond.
You know, we have a real-time crime center with a wall of video boards that we can track things that are going on in the city. Then we didn't have that. I sat in that very room on August 31st with a pen and a pad of paper trying to piece the puzzle together. We had no cameras that we had access to around the city that could have helped track us. We didn't have license plate readers at that time that would help us track. We have all those things now.
We spoke with him last week on a day where a threat was called to a local school. The response, massive.
When you see anything like this happening, any threat of this happening, you'll see us. You'll see the Decatur County Sheriff's Office, Texas Department of Public Safety, UTPB Police will be out there. The school district police department will be out there, hospital district, everybody will be out there. Everyone will respond, and that's what we want.
And that partnership is not just in Odessa, as we saw on August 31st. It also came from Midland and beyond.
Some tremendous help from Midland County. Again, DPS is just, that day. That's what we do in West Texas, I think. I think we always come together when there's need and when there's issues. We always come together and we help each other out.
As the department changes, Chief Gerke says they will be taught about what happened and the importance of looking back and remembering.
We do have some turnover, so we have a lot of officers that weren't here then, that absolutely just weren't here, and so they need to understand the significance of that date.
The lives lost 4 years ago were honored this morning at UT Permian Basin, where many people, including community leaders, gathered to pay tribute and kick off a day of positivity. It's called the Shine a Light Sunrise Service. Everyone wore yellow and was encouraged to go out and engage in acts of kindness. A blood drive was also hosted in front of UT Permian Basin. The central message is to give to your community. Kelby Davis, the mother of Anderson, who was the youngest injured in the shooting, spoke about community healing.
It's a way to literally start a day that could be so dark with light and with hope and with love and a sense of community by coming together. So it's very important to our family, but I also think to our community.
The sunrise service also was host to a single piece of what will soon become the Bright Star Memorial. That piece will be temporarily installed at the UTPB Library the last week of October. And the unity felt in 2019 has continued for years. The Permian Basin came together to support first responders and the victims injured and their families. Departments across Midland and Odessa worked together to keep each other and the public informed. Odessa Fire Rescue Fire Chief John Cotton was one of the first responders making runs between cities and agencies that day. Firefighters, like many others, had their holiday weekend disrupted, but knew there was work to be done.
We pulled together as a team, Odessa Fire Rescue, OPD, the city. We pulled together as a team and worked until everything was done and accounted for.
Students and staff around ECISD wore yellow all day as a way to remember the shooting here 4 years ago. Wearing yellow today, like they did just days after the 2019 shooting, gave students and staff a sense of community in their morning. Some received a little yellow ribbon so they could participate in the day. At Odessa High, theater students received ribbons and gathered around the school's memorial to one of the victims in the shooting. Lila Hernandez, who was a student at OHS and just 15 years old.
We were encouraging kids and staff to wear yellow, and that's just a way for us to know that I wasn't the only one going through this grief. So it unites people and it helps people feel that love together.
Another school took today to teach students about more peace so that an event like this does not happen again. And in your education news, Alpine ISD is $200,000 short on a balanced budget and aren't receiving the state funding they need. This means that the district can't get the resources they need for their students. This has been a problem for the district in the last 10 years. Whenever state and county officials disagree on how much schools should get from property taxes, it leaves a huge gap in their school budget. Alpine ISD needs $1 million a year from the state to help balance that budget.
Alpine ISD loses almost $1 million every year to these CAD comptroller disputes, and specifically how they underfund rural districts and many districts like us. So that ends up representing about a 10% drop in our overall allotment.
Currently, Alpine ISD is the 15th lowest funded school district in the state of Texas. And it's time to take a look at weather. Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer-Teller is here to tell us what we can expect. Tom.
Well, we saw temperatures a little warmer today as they're inching their way back up to triple digits. Let's go ahead and take a look at the high temperatures that were observed today into the upper 90s across the Midland Odessa area, 99 in Big Spring, 99 down towards the Presidio area too. So things again are starting to warm up. Pretty quiet evening in Odessa right now, as we are looking at temperatures into the upper 80s to lower 90s. So a little on the warmer side as we have that waning gibbous moon out there moving across the skies. Labor Day forecast, we're going to see pretty hot, dry conditions on the way as those temperatures again are going to be staying into the upper 90s. And unfortunately, not any rain in the forecast as we're going to be mainly looking at sunshine.
Tracking crime now, a man was seriously injured in what was first a hit and run with an electric bicycle. This man, Dulces Mata, is charged with failure to stop and render aid. According to Odessa police, Mata didn't yield the right-of-way at an intersection on East 14th Street and hit a 22-year-old man riding an electric bike. Mata drove away and the man was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Mata eventually returned to the scene and was arrested. And in the community, there's no comfort like a good meal with people who make you feel loved every weekday. That's what Breaking Bread Ministries hopes to provide Midlanders experiencing homelessness or hunger. Tonight, the ministry treated its guests to a special evening. Executive Director Shirley Almanza says it's a celebration of their guests and an opportunity to show them love. The event included an upscale meal, decor, tableside service, prizes, and more. For its attendees, the dinners are a source of relief. When he first arrived 5 weeks ago, Dean Sawyer said the welcoming atmosphere he experienced brought him to tears.
Gives you hope, gives you strength, living out in the streets is hard on people, you know. The stress level and, you know, you could run into what I call a train wreck at any moment.
The theme tonight is positive vibes. Bottom line, Almanza says she wants everyone to leave feeling special, loved, and valued. And it's a story you first saw on CBS7 back in May. You'll remember we spoke with West Texas native Regina Stock about being crowned Mrs. Texas. Well, this weekend she was crowned Mrs. America 2023. This was Stock's first official appearance and interview since winning the title this past weekend in Vegas.
Honestly, like, I would be happy with top 15 out of 50-something girls, but I want the crown.
Start off by saying your first and last name and your title.
Regina Stock, Mrs. America 2023.
Midlander Regina Stock was crowned Mrs. America 2023.
It was so different going into this pageant. Like, I didn't feel nervous, I didn't feel anxious, I just felt at peace going into interview. I enjoyed my week there, I wasn't stressed. And same thing with being on stage. Like, I had the time of my life on that stage, and so that was just like the cherry on top.
Stock says she poured everything she had into preparing for nationals.
A lot of emotional and mental work to heal and to develop my platform and to go in there as my best self, and it paid off. It really did.
A mom of 4, Stock graduated from Odessa High.
It's great to be able to say, yeah, I'm from Odessa. I live in Midland now. It's a small town, but we have great people here, you know, and great things come out of here.
Stock has a busy year ahead, full of appearances as Mrs. America and prepping for the Mrs. World competition in January.
They always say the crown is heavy. There's a lot more to it. You know, you want to serve your year, you want to make it matter, you want to be remembered for more than just being pretty and wearing their sash and crown.
In the midst of it all, she's focused on living life to the fullest, a mindset she had going into nationals and plans to take with her into World.
I don't want to look back and have regrets. I want to say I did it all. I have nothing left. You know, it's very important to me as a mom of 4 to model that for my children. I want them to say, Mom did it all. She lived her best life. She went after everything. She chased her goals. She chased her dreams, because that's the life I want for them.
Stock says if you would like to become involved with pageants, she'd love to mentor you. Now for a look at today's top headlines shown here in real time with real viewers on CBS7.com. See all of these stories and more by downloading our app or visiting our website at CBS7.com. And still ahead, one company in Midland is opening the door for women to work in a field dominated by men. We'll tell you how in your oil and gas news on CBS7 News at 9. One company in Midland is opening the door for women to work in a field dominated by men. Women welders in West Texas may not have the same opportunity as men do to work in the Permian Basin, but Edge Industries aims to fix that problem. Welding has been a predominant male job, producing products like tanks and pressure vessels for oil fields. Because of the heavy workload, not many women get into it or even get the opportunity to work in this industry. However, since Edge Industry opened in 2018, they've given women the chance that others places may not.
20 years ago, women weren't really too involved in this, and even now in the bigger companies, oil companies, I'm seeing a lot more women engineers and women field people, and you know, I take joy in seeing women are finding joy in this industry too, like I do.
Edge says they currently employ 2 women as welders, and they say they're ready for anything that comes their way.
Every day is a challenge against myself, for the same reason, because we are a few women. We have to show that women can do it too. And when I'm finishing and I turn around and look at my tank, you feel like, oh, it's finished. How cool.
Even with the title of welders, they want to prove to everyone that they're just as good, if not more hardworking than the men.
Well, we are going to see plenty of heat in the forecast, not only for the Friday night blitz of football, but also for your Labor Day weekend. We're going to talk all about that coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, we are going to be looking at more heat in our forecast as it looks like the upper 90s, low triple digits coming around in our forecast. West Texas view of the satellite and radar. Not even much in the way of cloud cover today across the West Texas area, and really the state of Texas had a few cumulus clouds here across the Edwards Plateau. That's about as close as things got, maybe into the Big Bend area. High pressure is locked in here across portions of northern New Mexico into the Texas Panhandle. There you can see it swirling clockwise flow around it, and that's really bringing some dry air in off the plains. So we're not expecting anything in the way of rain anytime soon. And this is really not going to move that much. If anything, it's going to drift east, then drift back to the west. This little upper level low back here across portions of southwest Louisiana into East Texas might provide some showers coming up for the Labor Day weekend, but most areas of the state looking very dry, as is what we have right now across the state. As temperatures today, we saw a lot of hot spots. 100 in Houston, 103 in Brownsville. Low triple digits, Del Rio into the Balcones Escarpment in central Texas this afternoon. So we'll take a 97 out there. But again, it just shows you temperatures are on the rise as that high pressure is moving in. And it's also going to kill off any showers, thunder showers, at least for tomorrow. So Labor Day travel on Friday looking good, as are the area football games across the area. Just dealing with a couple of clouds and some hot conditions on the way. So for the rest of tonight, here's what we are going to be looking at. Pretty quiet conditions across the area as temperatures will drop down to a nice 69 overnight tonight across the Permian Basin. Tomorrow, though, back up to the upper 90s, it looks like. So rather hot for area football games, especially around Pecos, Presidio right now. We're looking at 100 tomorrow afternoon, as is Big Spring. And your CBS7 First Alert, the exclusive 10-day forecast is showing hot weather for most of your Labor Day weekend and into the early part of next week, as we're keeping dry conditions and the high pressure not letting up, so not expecting any rain anytime soon.
Still ahead, it's been a full day of cleaning up after Hurricane Idalia. What residents are returning to after this hurricane swept across the southeast, next on CBS 7 News at 9. Floridians are returning to their Gulf Coast homes and, in countless cases, sorting through the devastation left behind by Hurricane Idalia. Jason Allen reports from Keaton Beach, Florida, close to where the storm first made landfall.
The cleanup is underway on Florida's Gulf Coast after Idalia hit the state as a powerful Category 3 hurricane. Across the region, homes were ripped apart and debris scattered far and wide.
There's a lot of mess here, but in other places it looks like total devastation. I didn't think we were going to have anything to come home to.
In hard-hit Cedar Key, the National Guard distributed ready-to-eat meals and water while crews repaired downed power lines. For miles around, residents took stock of the work to come. In Horseshoe Beach, this woman tried to reassure her mom that better days are ahead.
It's material. We're going to rebuild.
While there is tremendous damage to many homes, some in coastal areas, like here in Keaton Beach, appeared to be left nearly untouched.
We're just so happy to be here. Thank the good Lord is what we keep saying.
As Idalia left Florida and swept into Georgia and the Carolinas, an eyewitness captured the moment a tornado lifted and flipped a car in South Carolina. More flooding and high winds lashed the region on Thursday. Meanwhile, in Washington, President Biden visited FEMA headquarters and promised help for those who need it.
We're making available federal assistance for Florida survivors whose homes are damaged or destroyed.
The president said he plans to visit Florida on Saturday. Jason Allen, CBS News, Keaton Beach, Florida.
Insurance experts estimate the price tag of Idalia's damage could reach as high as $20 billion. And still ahead, take a whiff of this. Scientists recreate a 3,500-year-old ancient Egyptian mummification balm aroma. Scientists have decoded an ancient aroma by identifying the ingredients used in Egyptian mummification bombs. That's a mouthful, Tom. And they've resurrected the scent. You can take a whiff of it if you're willing to travel to a museum in Denmark, where it will be in an upcoming exhibit. Researchers are calling it the scent of eternity and the scent of eternal life. The fragrance is based on beeswax, plant oils, and tree resins found within bombs used more than 3,500 years ago to preserve a noble woman. Her vital organs were placed in jars that were discovered in Egypt's Valley of the Kings in 1900. A study detailing the findings was published Thursday in the journal Scientific Reports. It seems like it would smell pretty good, pretty natural, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it's all natural stuff, so it's kind of interesting, kind of deep.
Maybe this will be the new scent of, the season.
I'm sure it'll be in a perfume coming to a store near you this Christmas, okay? So,
who would have thought?
Smell like old Egypt.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at weather as we're still dealing with the scent of summer out there. Those temperatures are going to be into the upper 90s. Tomorrow we start what's called meteorological fall, or the fall season weather-wise, but it's not going to feel like it as this dry forecast looks to continue.
Thanks for watching CBS 7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW.